Start. Okay. Everybody's ready? Okay. All right. Good morning. Once again, this is Mustafa. Thank you for joining us on this Saturday meeting. Today, we're going to talk about real estate. It's a fascinating field that I like to invest in. We're going to learn some techniques, how to start with no money down, no credit. I'm getting a lot of calls from people telling me, Mustafa, how do I start again? If I have no money, no credit, how would you start? So I was lucky enough, actually a friend of mine, Wink, found this gentleman named Donald Hilton. He found him, I guess, on Instagram somehow, and he sent me the link. And I read this article, I read his post on IG, and I sent him a message myself, and we started to talk. After a few days, we jumped on a phone call, and we decided we have some similar goals, which is to pay it forward. And then he was lucky. I mean, he was nice enough to join us today. So I'm gonna have him take over soon. To facilitate this meeting, I will say write down your questions. Either put them in the chat box, or at some point he's gonna take a break, and you guys can ask some questions, and then he's gonna go back to phase two of the meeting. So everybody, please just keep your phone, your Zoom muted, so we can lower the background noises. You can text if you don't want to unmute and speak, you can just text your questions, and I'll read it to him, or he's going to read it himself. But if you prefer to talk, then of course I will, when the time is ready, just go ahead and unmute yourself, and then we'll take it from there. As same thing we did last week. If you don't mind, first just go ahead and unmute yourself and just say your first name and where you're from, so we know where everybody's coming from. You don't have to do it, but if you want to do it, that would be cool. So he knows where you guys are located or not. Um, you can go ahead and unmute yourself and say, "Good morning. My name is such such, and I'm from this state," if you want to.
Good morning. My name is Sophia. You can call me Sophia, and I'm from New York.
Thank you. Welcome, Sophia.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. I'm Wink. I'm from Washington, D.C. And good morning. Look forward to this Zoom this morning.
Welcome.
Good morning. My name is Brahim. I'm from Philadelphia. I'm looking forward to finishing completing this class.
Good morning. My name is Thaddeus. I'm out in Houston, Texas, and I'm looking forward to hearing the information that you guys will share today. Thanks for having me.
Good morning. My name is Rue. I'm from Richmond, Virginia.
Good morning. I'm Chris. I'm from Cleveland.
Good morning. This is Mike from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Okay, I think we have almost everybody. All right. So I'm gonna actually, before I forget, Mr. I'm just gonna put him down if you don't mind. He has a book out, and for all of you guys who join this meeting today, you get to get the free a book will mail to your house. So please take time to write down this email address or take a screenshot and just email me your name and your address, and we'll send you the hard copy of his book to you guys. So take a screenshot, copy it, and this is where you need to send me your name and your address so we can mail you guys your the copy of his book. Right. On that note, Daniel, you can go ahead and take over. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen, and the show is yours.
Okay. Good morning, y'all. My name is Donald, and I'm from Iowa. Anybody ever been to the Midwest? Type it in the chat. Can y'all see? Can you see my screen? Type it in the chat, and hear me okay?
Yes, yes.
Okay. All right. Let's get it started. So I got a presentation for you. It'll be about 20, 30 minutes and just go over who I am and what I got to offer today. This is me in 2019, and that's the picture on the left is me in 2019. I'm in federal prison. And the one on the right is a picture of me today. And now I own 15 I own 19 now. I actually just bought 4 of them last week. So I'm to my 19th property. So a little bit about me. I was born in a small town. So I was born in Alton, Illinois. Alton, Illinois is down by East St. Louis. It's not the best place in the world for you to raise a family, but that's where I call home. I was born 1988, and I grew up in a family with a single mother. So my dad was in prison for 20 years, so I didn't have a male role model in my life. So I went to the streets, like most kids in America, like without a father, you had no guidance. So my cousins down here in this picture, they were my guidance, and they not much older than me. So how can a child lead a child? So I ended up going down the route of selling drugs. So in the era of trap era, Jeezy, T.I., all of that stuff, that's the era I grew up in. So I wanted to be like that. And at this time, my dad was in prison. My grandpa had been in federal prison, and my auntie also been in federal prison. So I'm just doing what I know. I'm doing the things that I see in my household. So it made me a product of my environment. And I wanted the cars, I wanted the money, I wanted that lifestyle. So that's what I did. Um, and I ended up in the same scenario like the rest of those people. I ended up doing 2 years in a state prison here in Iowa, and I did 6 years in a federal prison. I was in Oxford, Wisconsin, and Lexington, Kentucky. In the rap lyrics, they don't tell you about this part right here. This is the part where you have to watch your kids grow up in pictures. Every once in a while, you get to hug them, you get to interact with them, but for the most part, you watching them grow up in pictures and 15-minute phone calls and things like that. So this is the day that changed my life right here. This picture right here changed my life because this is me visiting my dad in the same prison that my son came to visit me at. And this is Oxford, Wisconsin. And this is the day that changed my life because if I didn't change, I know that my son would be in the exact same prison that I was at. So after that, I I put down all of the James Pattersons. I got away from the TV and I started educating myself. I started reading books that would actually help me, books that would change my life. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Think and Grow Rich, understanding the stock market, understanding options, things like that. So those was the books that helped mold me into what you see today. And reading is very important because if you constantly forgetting things, right? So if you not putting new knowledge in and forgetting old stuff, then you're not going to be better in the future. So that's why reading is so important. Um, while I was in there, I was the store man. I was the store man. So I ran a store and I worked Unicore. So a store in prison is selling honey buns and cakes and sodas for double. So I would buy a honey bun and give me 2 back. I would sell it to other inmates, give me 2 back. And that was how I made money. I also worked Unicore. So in those old movies, you see like them making license plates and things like that. That's prison labor, and it still goes on today. In the federal system, they have a thing called Unicore, where we make like cables for Humvees. We make we make things like lights for the FBI parking lot or something like that. Just things like that we make for the government. The inmates in the federal system making it for the government. The inmate in the state system is making it for, the states. In the state, I was a woodworker, so I would make dorm room furniture out of wood. So those is the things that the prisoners do. And I ended up saving like $10,000 from doing this. So I had $10,000 saved up, and I knew that I could not go back to the same environment that I was in. Sometimes you have to change your environment to change. So I got dropped off in a city where I didn't know nobody. I didn't have friends here. I didn't have family here. I just simply got dropped off because I knew if I had 10,000 in my pocket and I went back to my old neighborhood, then I would jump back into the same type of activities that I was doing. See, in this new city, I didn't know nobody, so I wouldn't be able to get drugs if I wanted to. I wouldn't be able to do dumb stuff if I wanted to. I was locked in and focused. So I ended up asking my landlord if he had a building he wanted to sell. And he ended up selling me this duplex right here. And that was how I got into real estate. So when he sold me this duplex, I lived in one and my tenant paid off the mortgage. So it helped me save money, and I ended up buying another one and another one and another one. And now I'm on my 15th one. Well, my 19th one today. I got to get used to saying 19 because it's so new. So now I'm on my 19th one today. And then while I'm celebrating, I almost lost it all. I started drinking and I ended up catching a DUI. I was still on probation. I was in a state that I wasn't supposed to be in, just being reckless, I ended up catching a DUI and almost losing it all. And by the grace of God, they gave me 30 days in jail instead of sending me back to prison. So with that 30 days, I turned my lemons into lemonade. I got sober and then I wrote this book. It's called From Prison to Properties. Everybody will get a copy of this that attended this live Zoom. So I wrote a book because I knew how to sell a product, but the product I was selling was actually killing the people that I'm trying to help. So I knew that I was a hustler. So I ended up writing a book to try to help people because real estate changed my life, and I feel like it could change a whole lot of people's life only if they knew how to start. So that's what my mission was. So I'm gonna go through a couple slides real quick and then open it up for questions. So real estate 101. Everybody needs a place to live. Why not live for free? Some things you should know is you do not need a real estate license to get into real estate. So if you have a license, you get access to like the MLS where you get way more properties whenever they come on the market, and you will potentially get better deals than some other people. But the thing is, you don't need a license like a lot of people think. 5 months after I was released, I bought my first duplex. So that shows you right there, you don't need a license. You don't need good credit. So if you have good credit, then you can get better interest rates from lenders and things like that. And more lenders will lend to you, but credit is not important. So I bought this house using a cosigner because I didn't have job history and my credit was not established like it should be to buy a house. So credit is not important and job history is not important. The important thing is finding a deal. So a lot of people think you need a lot of money. You need a big old stack of money. I had 10,000 when I started, yes, but you don't need that. If you have good credit, then you can use
I'm
other
fine.
people's money.
They're sitting here at the house, man.
You can, you can use other people money to buy it. So a lot of money is not needed. Other people money consists of credit cards, loans, hard money. I bought this portfolio. This is the keys to me getting 11 units. That's how I scale so fast. I bought a whole portfolio and I didn't use my own money. I used a credit card, I used a business loan, and I used seller financing. So I essentially got all of these properties for free. So it's different types of real estate. You got single family, that's one single house. It's multi-family, that's a building where it's 2 to 4 people stay. And you got commercial, and those will be where like the big skyscrapers where it's hundreds of units. And it's different tactics to getting into real estate. You got house hacking, that's when you basically live for free. You got the BRRRR strategy. I know a lot of you probably heard of. It's whenever you buy a property, fix it up, take out the equity and refinance it and fix it up and all of this stuff, rent it out so the tenant pay for it. That's the BRRRR strategy. And then you got buy and hold, when you buy a property and just make income from it forever. And that's the tactic that I usually use. So house hacking is when you live on one side and have a tenant pay most of the mortgage. You can do this with a single family home. Like if you buy a house, you can have somebody move in like a roommate, and your roommate can be the one that pays a lot of your bills, and that's how you get into real estate, and you can't really afford it. So that's one way to house hack. The BRRRR method. The BRRRR method is when you buy the house, fix it, and then rent it out. I bought this house for $25,000. It was worth about 48, and I put about $5,000 down on it. So I had about 23 in equity. So equity is just like money in the bank. Equity is like what your house is worth minus what you owe. That's equity. So I got a HELOC, a home equity line of credit, and I borrowed $15,000 from all of this equity that I had. I fixed it up. It only needed minor repairs like floors and paint and things like that. So I fixed it up mostly by myself, and that cost me about $7,000. So I ended up getting paid to buy this house. So I bought it for 25 and I only put 5 down. But I walked in the bank with the $5,000 down and walked out with a $15,000 check, essentially. It didn't happen like overnight, but that's essentially what I did. So I got paid to buy this house. So with the 15,000, I got my money back and I got money to fix it up. So now I have nothing in this deal. I'm renting it out. So my mortgage is $400, $500. I rent it for $750. Now I'm profiting every month and I have nothing in the deal. That's a BRRRR strategy. So long-term buy and hold. And that's over time, your tenant's gonna pay down the mortgage and you collect cash flow and you build equity. That's what the name of the game is. Buy long term. So the first time it was luck that I bought my property. The second time it was kind of like a coincidence. But the third time is a pattern. So it's kind of like I know what I'm doing. And I offer one-on-one mentoring if any of you want it. But we gonna open it up for questions, and then I'm gonna get into the second part where I'm actually teaching. Anybody got any questions?
All right. Once again, it's Mustafa. You can go ahead and unmute yourself, whoever has a question. If you want Daniel to go back to a specific slide, you can. Before you go to more in-depth going over one of his deals, let's go and ask any question we have so far. You can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Yes, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So you said that the mortgage is $400. I'm like wondering where the $400 mortgage is. I live in New York. That no $400 mortgage exists here.
Yeah, it's gonna be way different for New York. See that I bought that house for 25,000, so I know it's nothing in New York for 25,000. It's just that when you use the same concept, so like if your mortgage will be about 4,000 instead of 20, I mean $400. So if you pay 250,000, you'll have about a 4,000. So with people in New York, I just tell them just invest probably in the Midwest and have a property manager handle your property because deals like this you won't find in big cities. You won't. It's a lot of them in just the Midwest.
I have a question.
Hmm.
Have you looked outside the Midwest? Like you thought about Maryland, Virginia, anywhere in them areas?
I haven't personally, so I'm working with guys that's in like uh Michigan and things like that where it's still cheap, but on the coast, I haven't the coast in the South, I haven't necessarily did any deals there yet. Because I know it's expensive, and a lot of people that I want to teach, they just not in that bracket where they can save $50,000 for that down payment or things like that.
I,
But it's
I,
other
I,
ways. It's other ways I'm gonna show you though.
okay. I know a lot of people that I know, they
Hmm.
do exactly what you said. They went down to Atlanta. They from here. They went
Hmm.
down to Atlanta, South Carolina, North Carolina, bought real estate, fixed it up, fix and flips, and got property managers. Some still drive back and forwards to make sure the property, they do exactly what you said. And I was curious, have you moved your way up and down the coast?
Yeah, no, not yet. I'm excited to start, but I just haven't because I was still on probation and I couldn't leave, but I recently got off probation, so now
Oh,
I can
congratulations.
yeah, thank you, man.
Congratulations.
I just got off like 4 months ago, so
Oh,
now I can
congratulations.
expand.
I know you about to hit the road running.
So what I'm doing now is going into prisons teaching this stuff. So I just did my first prison tour. I went to Mississippi, Tennessee, and Kentucky last week. So that's my next
What,
mission, going into the
did,
prisons and giving
where
them
did you
the
go to
same
state?
exact knowledge. Huh?
You went to state or you went to the federal prison?
We went to the state prisons.
Okay, okay, okay. Congratulations.
Thank you, bro.
Congratulations again. And it's an honor. Thank you for your time.
Yep. Thank you for coming.
Good
I
morning.
Yes.
Good morning, Donald. This is Debbie Moxham,
Good
and
morning.
thank you very much for coming on today. I had
Mhm.
a question because I've spoken before on this platform regarding loans. I'm a commercial broker,
Okay.
so I may have missed the first 5 minutes. I missed the first 5 minutes. Where are you located?
I'm in Iowa
You're in Iowa. Wonderful.
and
And
Illinois.
in Illinois. Okay, great. And with regards to the properties, you said you did get a loan. Was that from traditional financing or from a private lender?
The big portfolio, it was from a private lender. And then my
Okay.
first one was seller financing.
Wonderful. That's yeah, because I was saying, but no, so
Yeah.
thank you so very much for addressing that. Did a
Yeah.
great
So
job. And I have a portfolio. I have several properties as well. And I applaud you. I
thank
applaud all young people who go and do this. So it's as you said, it just starts with the first one. And as long as you do the footwork, you can find that one. However, the people that I'm in Connecticut, those who are in New York, I hear you. My daughter was in Colorado, and the price points are just a wee bit higher than
you.
just a wee bit higher than Iowa and Illinois, but they can be found. They can be found. You just gotta put your ear to the ground and see the ones, the worst house on the block. Those are the ones you
Mhm.
should be looking for. Donald, thank you so very much.
No, thank you for coming.
Yes, sir. So, my name is Ru. So, when looking for your private lender for your portfolio, may I ask, how did you go about finding the portfolio, that lead first, and then the process you went with for finding the private lender, and what did they ask down, and did they ask for a credit score, a credit score, things like that? Because I know some hard money's ask for a credit score. Some don't, but I just want to see your take.
Yeah, that's a good question, bro. So, how did I find it? I found it just by a humbug. So, remember, I bought the duplex, and I bought the duplex on seller financing. And whenever it was time to refinance that, the mortgage lender that I used came to the table. We was closing this deal, and she was like, "I know where it's a portfolio at," and I was like, "All right." She was like, "They want 529,000 for it." And I was still new to this. So I'm like, I ain't got $500,000. So she like, no, we can the seller is carrying a second note. So the seller was giving me 15% of the down payment. So I needed to find $100,000 to get this portfolio. The seller was giving me 80 of it. And then I just needed to find 20 more thousand. So what I had good credit at this time. So what I did was I got a loan for my business and then I used the credit card. But to answer your question, the hard money lender, he's an investor. So what he does is he buys properties and then sell them back to you on contract. So I wouldn't have been able, I was still like 2 years out at this time. I was 2 years out of prison at this time. So I still didn't have the good credit history, the big credit score. I wouldn't have been able to go into a bank to get this. So what he did was he bought it and he sold it back to me on contract. So that's how I got that. So that's what this particular hard money lender that I use, that's how he do it. And it's not the best deal because you're paying 9% interest rates and things like that. But when you have a cash flowing asset, that's the thing you look at. How much income is it actually making versus how much you spending.
Okay, perfect. So you got him to loan you the remainder money that you were missing.
Yeah. Yeah. So I went to him and he was like, "Do you got 20% down?" Uh the seller gave me 15% and then I found the other 5%. So yeah,
Perfect. Thank you, boss man. Appreciate you.
yeah. And I'm about to teach y'all exactly how to do this.
I have a question as well. My name is Brian from Philadelphia. Them properties that you accumulated in that portfolio, do any of them have equity in them?
Yeah. Yeah. We bought them for so it was 529,000 and it was 11 of them. So we got them for like 40,000, 50,000 a piece, so yeah, they $70,000 houses in this area.
Wow.
But they are old. So the 70, we probably won't get the 70 because they need updating, but we'll go in there and throw 5,000 in it and get the whole 79,000, 70, whatever.
Yeah. The after repair value, yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
So yeah, they had equity. It was just a old guy. He was tired of it. Being a landlord is hard work. So he was just
Yeah.
tired. So he wanted to get rid of them and make him some money. So I was young enough and I did it.
All right, cool. Thanks. I just wanted to know. Thank you. We appreciate you as well. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, good morning. This is Mike from Harrisburg. I wanted to ask you a quick question. Uh, the house that you said that was worth 23,000, I think you said you put 5,000 down.
Yeah.
Did you say that you went to a bank to put that 5,000 down?
Yeah, I did a credit union with that deal. So with that
Okay.
deal, yeah, we went to a credit union. So
All right, quick question about that. What was one of the criteria? Like, did it have to be like be able for someone to live in that house or anything like that before you could put that down, or was there any like certain criteria that they wanted that house, certain condition they wanted the house to be in?
yeah, so to be able to get the refinance, it has to be livable. I tried this and I failed miserably, so I lost some money doing that. So this house right here, yes, it was livable, like the AC and the heat work. The only thing it needed was like updating. Like they just
Okay.
didn't take care of the property, so you can move it. She was actually still living in the property. It just needed updating. It didn't have floors down. They was just like walking on the subfloors, and the kitchen was like just in terrible condition. But the bank never went in. They did the drive-by appraisal. And the drive-by appraisal is basically like whenever they look it up on Zillow and see what it's worth and things like that. I don't think they actually drive by. They probably do, but that's how they did that appraisal. So they never even walked in the building to see.
Okay, so I see at least worth a try then.
Yeah. So then I thought I was like, oh man, I know this was my second property. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go. I know what I'm doing. So then I bought this other property. It was like an old abandoned property. They wanted 15,000 for it. So I'm like, I'm about to do the same thing. I'm about to go in the bank, get this HELOC and then fix it up. And they like, no you can't get a HELOC unless the property is livable. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I didn't know that at the time. It's this still my second property, so I'm not familiar with hard money lenders and building my credit and things like that. So I just sold it as is and took a little loss.
Okay. Good information. Thank you for that.
Mhm.
Donald, it's Debbie again. I have a question. Are you currently employed as well now?
I just quit. I was employed because when you're on federal probation, they don't let you work for yourself. So
Okay,
so she made me get a job. So I worked at a factory the whole time. I just quit my job last week. Um,
awesome.
yeah,
Congratulations. Just because
yeah,
my question was when you went to the credit union, they're looking for the ability to repay,
uh-huh.
even though you have rent coming in. So I just wanted to see how you handled that.
Yeah, so I had job history. So that's how I refinanced after that, the one that my landlord gave me. So I was able to
Yes,
refinance because I had my 2 years tax returns at this time.
wonderful. And you were working at the factory, so you had income coming in.
Yeah, but
Awesome.
then my second deal, I didn't have income coming. I was only a year out at this time, so I didn't have the 2 years of tax returns. And that's one thing that the bank wants is 2 years of tax returns.
Yep.
So to overcome that obstacle, me and my girlfriend, she co-signed for it.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
I had decent credit, but it wasn't enough for me to get a house because I didn't have a job history also. So she co-signed, and that's how I got that second property that you see.
Now, when you went and did for the private lenders, they're just happy to take your portfolio. So you didn't really have to show, or did they still want to see your the factory pay stubs?
Yeah, these particular ones, they don't care. They
Right? They
ask.
just want your properties. They will take it in a
Yeah,
heartbeat. When I
yeah.
put my guys into private money deals, the first thing I warn my clients or that they will be happy to take your property. So you have to make sure you have an exit strategy. You have to
Hmm.
have an exit plan. Otherwise, you will lose your property. So kudos to
Yeah.
you. Great job. Great job.
Thank you.
Peace, Chris from Cleveland. How do you find out how much equity is in these houses?
Well, it's a couple ways. It's a couple ways. One, the cheapest, the free ways is to look on the county assessor website, look on Zillow, look at things like that. That'll tell you about how much it's worth. It's not gonna give you the exact number, but until you go and pay $600, it costs $600 here for appraisal. You'll have to send an appraiser in there, and he'll have to do the actual work, and he'll tell you exactly what that house is worth. But it's a couple freeways I'm about to show you in this second session, so we can just get an idea of what it's worth.
No, I'm more so talking about like if it's a owner who has the property, they want to sell, but they haven't finished paying on their mortgage.
Oh, you just have to ask them, like the bank, like they have to send you like that bank statement or something like that. So it's
Um,
mortgage statement.
when you dealing with a hard money lender, uh, what company would you say is the best hard money lender that's available online?
I can't say which one is the best because I only use one. And the one I use, he don't go around the country. He just stay here locally. So I couldn't even answer that question for you. Uh,
Mm,
yeah. But it's a lot of Facebook groups that can definitely help you with that.
okay, thank you.
Hello. My name is Dow. I go by Bear. Also, congrats.
Thank you.
Um, so I am also from Iowa, and you kind of just answered my question from the recent question, but it's a two-part question. One, for your first couple properties, did you have a LLC? And the second part question was about hard money lenders in Iowa specifically, and I was wondering if you have recommendations, and you're probably going to go over it, but I was just wondering as well.
Yeah, I don't have any recommendations for hard money lenders outside of the Quad Cities. So I'm in the Quad Cities. So
Hmm.
if you trying to get one in the Quad Cities, yeah, I got one for you. But to answer your first question was what was your first question? I'm sorry.
Um, did you have any LLCs, or was that or did you
Um,
get those properties under your own
okay,
credit?
so no, I bought them in my name the first couple, and then I had a LLC set up, but whenever I went in the bank trying to get the money for the LLC, they was like, your LLC is 2 years old, but you haven't filed any taxes and made money with it. So what we would do is you could start a new one and we would give you a startup loan. So that's how I did that and then use that for the portfolio.
Nice, nice. Thank you. Thank you.
I have a question. What kind of LLC do you have? Because I'm
Um,
in the same predicament. I started a tow truck company, but my
hmm
LLC's been sitting for two years.
hmm
So I was going to do the same thing. So I guess I'm now you showing me to start a whole new LLC.
Well, if don't start it if you're not ready to go in the bank and get the money. So you still need personal if you're about to start a new one because you'll have to have a personal guarantee most places.
Okay.
So
Okay.
if your personal credit ain't up to par, 700, 720, then just wait until you get your personal credit and all of those credentials in order, and then you could go.
But well, for me, I did 18 and a half. I was in the federal prisons too. But what I did, I had time and resources. So I opened me a Navy Federal account. I
Okay.
still have that. When I came home, the very first thing I did was open the TD bank account. So I
Okay.
have my Navy Federal, which is my personal, and I have TD Bank. My credit score is 650 as of
Okay.
today. But I want to start moving transition to business. I want to take everything out of personal and move into business. That way I can purchase my first home, my first fix and flip. But
Okay.
my LLC's been sitting for over 2.5.
Yeah, that's how they did me. They made me start a new one. So that's probably what you have to do.
Uh,
What's the best LLC I should open?
I'm not.
Or it should be it could be anything.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
yeah.
hello, this is Brahim from Philly.
What's up, Ryan?
To help him with his question, a lot of people don't know that Donald Trump just passed a bill that the banks got to give out a lot of loans for personal businesses. They're no doc loans, so you ain't got to present your W-2s. You ain't got to present certain things as you used to. They're no doc loans. You basically got to have it's best to have over a 700 score, like he said, and that your LLC does have some age. But they even giving out money to people that have at least 5-day old LLCs as well. So with that being said, the no doc loans is helping a lot of people get funding for their businesses and stuff of that sort. Another way, you said you have a Navy Federal account as well, which I learned from someone who do your own research as well. You can apply for an auto loan through your Navy and Federal, and the interest rates will be sky high, but they still will give you the actual cash itself Once you get the cash, you can use the cash for personal. After 90 days, if you don't return them a VIN number or a title, that auto loan will turn to a personal loan, which will drop with a way lesser interest rate because it's easier to get auto loans than it is personal loans. So once you get the auto loan, if you don't notify them within 90 days, it will turn to a personal loan and the interest rate will drop tremendously, but you'll already have the cash to do whatever you need to be done with it to start making your next venture.
That's what's up.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
All right, let's hold the questions for now so we can go to second phase of this great slide so far. Go ahead, Donna. Let's go to round two.
All right, round two. So now round two gonna be actually implementing some of these things that I did, some of the things I do. So a lease with an option to purchase. A lease with an option to purchase. This is the one that I use to get into real estate. This is like rent to own. This is seller financing. This is the actual contract that you use. So what this contract is basically like a lease from your apartment. But in this lease, it says that before this day, I can buy this property. It's kind of like an options contract whenever you trade options, in the stock market. So you have until this amount of time to purchase this property at this price. So for instance, whenever I bought my first property, um, my first property was this duplex right here. All right. So we signed a lease with an option, and he said that I have 3 years to pay him the rest of his money. So I gave him $9,500 down. That was the down payment. And he gave me 3 years to come up with the rest. And during that 3 years, that's when I build my credit. That's whenever I got my job history together. So the good thing about a lease with an option is that whatever y'all agreed to, it don't matter what the house is worth. That's what y'all agreed to. So in this case, we agreed to 95,000. And whenever it was time for me to refinance and get the money to pay him, the house was worth 135,000. So what that means is I made $40,000 just holding on to a property that I would have been just paying rent at. So that's the best thing about a lease with option, that you can grow into that equity and still pay the price that y'all agreed on. A lot of these contracts is 5 years, but you got 5 years to pay them back. But in this case, ours was 3 years. So that's the route I took to get into real estate, a lease with an option. Whenever you're getting ready to go buy a property, the thing you're gonna sign is a purchase agreement. So let's say you at work and a little old lady says that, hey, I want to sell my house. The thing y'all gonna do is take that piece of paper right there, sign it, and buy the property. So that's what we did with this one that I have right here. This house that I have, that's what we did. It was a lady, we was at work. She said, I want to sell my house. So we signed a purchase agreement. I agreed to purchase it for 25,000. And I took it to a bank. To get the deal, there's 3 things you got to do. You got to find the deal, you have to sign the contract, and then you find the money. In that order, you find the deal, you sign the contract, and then you find the money. And the reason I say that is because if you have the money but no deal, what good is the money, right? You need an actual deal. And if the deal is good enough, anybody will fund it for you. So if I didn't, like, let's say this $25,000 house, if I didn't have the money and I walked to somebody and was like, hey, I know where it's a deal at, they would give me the $5,000 because they know that this is a good deal. So the biggest thing I want people to take away from this is finding deals. That's the biggest thing, because without a deal, you don't have nothing. And a deal is not going on Zillow, finding $100,000 house for $100,000. That's not a deal. A deal is going finding $100,000 house that's worth 200,000 or 300,000. That's the deal. And that's what we're looking for whenever we get into real estate. We're looking for deals. I bought this house for 25,000 that was worth 48,000, right? That was the deal. That's a deal. So anybody will fund a deal. So the key thing that I use whenever I'm looking up deals, one of you asked me was how do you find the value of it? I use the county assessor. A county assessor, every city, every state has a county assessor. So what a county assessor do is he go around and see how much taxes is worth for this house. It's not the actual appraisal. So this is not actual numbers, but it's close. So you mix this, you do your homework with this, the county assessor. On our county assessor, it shows everything. So I'm about to pull up one of my houses. So to find your county, go to like let's say Lee County, Texas, countyassessor.com. Like you just whatever county you're in, just go to the county assessor and it'll be like you could search like it'll say something like search parcels, search properties or something like that. You just have to play with your particular one. This right here is Scott County, Davenport. So Scott County county assessor office, you go to parcels and then you type in the property. So on this one, it's going to teach you everything about the property. This is what it looks like. This is the same duplex from out the pictures. It's going to tell you who owns it. It's going to tell you all of the square footage, all of this stuff. It's going to tell you all the permits that I pulled. I pulled some permits to get sidings. I pulled some permits for plumbing. It's going to tell you who bought it, who they bought it from, when they bought it, and how much they bought it for. So this is like the gold mine. It's gonna tell you the assessed value. Whenever I bought this house, I think I bought it in 21. Well, I think I bought it really when I first came home in 2020. But in 2021, it was assessed. So this is just for taxes. It's not the price what the house is worth. It's just assessed. So it was assessed at 54,000. Today it's assessed at 100,000. So that give you an idea that the taxes has went up dramatically, but it also give you an idea that it's more valuable, you know. So it tell you how much you pay in taxes, tell you if the taxes is paid, and all different type of things like utility bills. That's just for this county. So I look at other counties and it's not the same information. So you just have to get familiar with your county. So this is the first step I do to look up a property. So if somebody says, "Hey, I want to sell my property," I'll say, "What's the address?" They'll say 123 Main Street. So I'll type it in the county assessor website, 123 Main Street, and just look. Just do your homework. See who owns it and all of this stuff. How much it's worth, things like that. So when you on here and you looking and you see who owns it, this is another way. So if you ride past a vacant house and you see that it could be a potential deal, you'll go on the assessor office and it'll tell you who owns the deed. So a lot of times it'll be some LLC or something like that who owns the deed. So you just write them, contact them. If it's an actual person, you can do things like true people search. True people search is like finding out the information of a person. So if I go on here and it says that Donald Hinton owns this, I go to True People Search and see what's Donald Hinton's phone number or mailing address. It might have it, it might not, but this is just different ways to do your homework on a house. So that's going to be the first thing you always do. You do your homework, county assessor, go to Zillow, see what Zillow said a house is worth. Just check out as many free sites as you can. It's paid sites out here also. So PropStream, PropWire, things like that. those will give you the information of the owners too. So, but I just use the free stuff. So those that's the way to find the deal. So I go on here, I look, I see that it's assessed at 100,000, and the guy said he want 80 for it. I know that I probably got a decent deal. All right. So if the property was he wanted 120 for it and it's assessed at 100, that's how you know you don't really have a deal. So that's the first step to any property, doing that homework and then signing the contract. So you found the property. Let's say we found this property. We see that it's a good deal. So the next thing is we're gonna sign a purchase agreement or a lease option, whichever one. If you have the money, if you had a credit, so whenever you're getting ready to go into a bank, the bank want three things. They want a 640 credit score, 580 to 640 credit score. They want 2 years on the same job, 2 years tax returns, and they want a down payment. I usually say the down payment will be about 10%, because if you get a 3.5% interest down payment, that's a FHA loan, then you will need closing costs also. So closing costs gonna be the appraisal, it's gonna be your lawyer fees, it's gonna be the inspection, things like that. That's and the bank's fees for giving you the loan, that's all closing costs. So I say about 10%. It might be a little bit more, might be a little bit less, but just have about 10%. And the FHA let you get 3.5% down, and you can get up to 4 units with an FHA loan. So let's say it's a $400,000 house, 3.5% down to be about 10% of that would be about 40,000, and then you'll need closing costs also. So these are things you have to have that down payment. So if you going into a bank, you'll use a purchase agreement. You and the seller, you sign a purchase agreement. You'll take that to the bank and say, "Hey, I have this property I want. Can you fund it?" Just go in and ask for a mortgage. Now, if you're not in a position where you have those three boxes checked, that's whenever you use creative financing. So like a lease with an option. A lease with an option is just like the option contract. You give them a down payment, and then you have a certain amount of time to pay off the debt, pay off the rest of it. So that's kind of the different routes you can use. Both of these contracts, I'll be able to email you these if you need them. If you don't, but these are some of the things that I use to acquire these properties. So the ones that I said I just bought last week, me and one of my students, we partnered up and we did a lease with an option. Basically, he gave us 10 years to pay him back. He was just an old man. He didn't want the properties no more. So we just paid the back taxes, and now we going in and fixing them up. If you add me on social media, you'll be able to see this whole process. And that's pretty much what I have for you today. So if anybody had any more questions, we can do some more questions. I seen a question in the chat that says, do I have a audio book? And the answer to that was no, I don't have an audio book.
Okay, talking to Mustafa again, sorry. Regarding your book, of course, everybody here will get the free book, but how do they get it? How can where they can find your book?
My book is on Amazon, or you can go to FromPrisonToProperties.com.
Okay. And what's the Amazon price?
$20 for the book.
Okay. Can somebody ask you about your social media platform? If you can type it in the box.
My name is my social media handle on all platforms, Donald Hinton, and it's on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, everything. That's my name on all platforms, Donald Hinton.
Okay, that's in all of them, right? IG, Facebook and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. And YouTube too?
YouTube also, yeah.
All right. So Dana was kind enough to give me a discounted price for his book. So we work out a deal. So I'm paying for everybody's book here. I'm gonna email him your address. Once again, don't put your address in the box. Email me your address, please, again. That's at notifymezoom@gmail.com. After the phone call, I will send in the list of your name and addresses, and he's gonna himself put the books in the mail. So hopefully sometime next week or two you get them. And once you get them, if you want to, take a picture or testimonial and for his page, I'm sure he will appreciate it.
The deal with my mentee. Oh, if y'all got some more questions, we can ask them. I got all the time in the world for real. But the deal with my mentee, what Mustafa, was you still going or did you?
No, go ahead. I'm good.
Okay. So the deal with my mentee, it's a community center across the street from me, and I volunteer over there. So I do like the handyman stuff over there. So the guy that's my boss, should you say, he was just telling me like, yeah, man, I want to sell my threeplex. And I was like, what you want for it? This was a year ago. And he never said nothing. So I just reminded him, like, hey, you still trying to sell that building? He was like, yeah, and I got another one I'm trying to sell. So he sold us a threeplex and a four bedroom, one bathroom house on contract for $70,000. So we got them both for 35 a piece. But and because he had owed like 2 years of taxes, um, he owed 2 years of taxes, and I guess he just was tired of it. He didn't want to pay the taxes, didn't want to go in and fix the stuff up. People were squatting in him. So we went on ahead, took him off his hands, and that's what I'll be doing later on today. Y'all see that in action. But that I didn't even go over this in my presentation, so I'll go over it real quick. The county, I mean, taxes set to tax sales, foreclosure auctions, and things like that. Those is real good places to start if you have cash. So where I'm at, they do a foreclosure sale every week. Every Tuesday, where I'm at, they do a foreclosure sale. You have to have cash, but I seen I seen a property go for $17,000 one time, and they just sold it for $260,000. And but considering it had a big old tree on the roof whenever they were selling it, but it's just like those are the type of deals you can find. So the tax sales, they will sell your where I'm at, they will sell your taxes to somebody, and you have 2 years to reclaim your taxes, or they'll give your whole property away. So every year there's a basically like a auction where they'll sell your taxes, right? So those are some other avenues that you can take to possibly like make income on your money. So here you can buy the taxes and you make 2% a month. 2% a month compounded, and they got 2 years to pay you off. So you can make some nice income doing it that way. And if they don't pay you, then you get a whole house. So that's a good thing about taxes and foreclosure auctions. I didn't really go over it because I never did it. So I don't like to go over things that I haven't done, but I know that it's some people here in a position that they can do it. I just couldn't do it at that time, so I never did it.
How you doing again? This is Brahim from Philly. I have a question. When
Okay.
you say far as deals, look for only mess with deals. Do you mean more so far as equity, or could we go off also the ARV as well?
I don't really use ARV because, especially if somebody lying about it, like if you look online, you'll see 250,000 ARV, we selling it for $80,000, like things like that. Like I don't go off of that, but you can. That's just not my mentality. It's just I would say equity. I would say equity because if you buy into equity, you really can't fail. If you buy something for 50% of what it's worth, you can always sell it for 75% of what it's worth, right? So,
Okay.
so, So just always you want to buy with equity and cash flow. So if you don't have it, like I didn't have the money to do one of my properties, so I had to sell it. But if you have the money to fix up a property, then yeah, buy a old rundown building, because with those old rundown buildings is expenses to that, right? We got assets and we got liabilities. An old rundown building is a liability because you got to pay to keep the grass cut. You got to pay for security. Though some people broke into mine and stole my tools and stuff like that. You got to pay. You got to pay taxes even though it's like not making money. So you want to buy a property that already have like a tenant in it or potential, like the properties we just bought last week. I got to go in there, paint it, put the floors down, and then put some new cabinets in. That's gonna take me a week, right? I can do that in a week, and now we cash flowing. So now I'm not paying for grass to get cut. I'm not paying taxes, and people ain't gonna be going in stealing stuff. So it's gonna get done so quick that um, that's the type of deal I would encourage you to buy if you're not a seasoned investor. Now it's guys that been doing this for years that they just know the things, like how long a countertop would take to be delivered, things like that. So when you starting out, invest for cash flow and equity.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Hey, Chris from Cleveland. Um, how hard is it for you to find your leads, and is it expensive?
It's it's not hard to find leads because I do it every day. I do it on social media. So everybody know me for doing real estate. All right. So when people want to sell a house, they talk to me. When people want to buy a house, they talk to me. Like, you know what I mean? Um, but as far as finding leads for like flips and stuff, um, I just I just always talk about real estate. So people be like, "Oh, my cousin trying to sell a house. Give me the information," things like that.
Yeah, how you doing? This is Mike from Harrisburg again.
Mhm.
I'm wondering about the designs of your properties. Like how did you learn about what needs to go on the property so you're not putting in things in your property that might be like overpriced or making them look too nice, and how you
Mhm.
draw the line when it gets to that when you're first starting out.
That's a good question, man. And you trial and error.
Yeah.
So that one I got all the HELOC, and I had all this money to fix it up. I went and bought the best stuff, and you know what I mean? Like, and it's a rental, so now they done messed up all my stuff. So yeah, you just live and learn, man. So don't, if it's you renting it out, don't ever put the best stuff in there unless it's like in a high class neighborhood. So when you got and oh yeah, the thing with my rentals is they not in good neighborhoods. So they might like the first two I bought had bullet holes in them, just to put some
Mm.
perspective on that. So they not the best, but when you get I was coming from a prison cell, so I'm not worried about a bullet hole. You know what I mean? So it's just
Right.
like that was my mentality. So when you starting, just know that people gonna mess up your stuff. So put the cheap stuff in for rentals.
Right. And have you ever thought about using Section 8 in any of those areas?
Yeah, I got 5 houses on Section 8.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
It's good. Yeah, do Section 8 because they gon' they gonna pay you every month on the first, and there's no excuses unless
Mhm.
it's a holiday.
So, can I ask, what's the process of having this property and then starting doing whatever is needed to get it on Section 8?
It's you just reach out to the people and say, "Hey, I had this property. I want to put it on Section 8." They're gonna come and inspect it, make sure all of your stuff is in order. Like you got your handrails, you got everything working, your stove and refrigerator and heating stuff working, and then they just gonna let you do it. And you tell them what you want for the property, and they'll like I would say like they will tell you what they can pay for this. Like you can say like I want 1,000 for my property. They'd be like, we only pay 800 for this. So you can either lower it to 800 or I think they'll make the tenant pay that other extra 200. It just depends.
Okay, one more question. So let's say I found this lead, and I found this lead, and I look to see who's the owner, and let's say it's an LLC or whatever the case. I remember you said the town assessor,
Mhm.
but what other
County.
way? The county assessor. Okay,
Mhm.
and what other ways? Like, cause my county assessor, I just tried to search while we was on there, and it didn't pop up any name
Uh-huh.
or LLC
Okay.
that own the property. So I will probably have to go through another way. I know on the Secretary of State, when I searched up a LLC the other day, it gave me their their office address. So
Yeah.
like, what other way would you see fit for to
Prop
find these owners so I could be able to sell my marketing letter to them?
is prop wire and prop stream. They charge, but it'll show you who own it and stuff like that. Prop wire, prop stream. True people search. Oh yeah, you trying to find a person. So yeah, prop wire, prop stream.
Okay, Donna, there's some questions in the chat box if you're ready. Just look,
Okay.
look it over.
Say,
If
yeah,
anything,
say I live in a very competitive market. How do I get a foot in the door with all these investors and companies? Uh, that's a good question. You either gonna partner with them or you gonna get the scraps. You know what I mean? Like, cause they are in it to make money, so they not taking every deal. So they gonna throw away the deals that like only 10,000 profit and stuff like that. They're gonna leave that for the new people. But to getting your foot in the door, just getting Facebook groups, just getting Facebook groups, and you will see all of these deals coming through. And what you do is just get familiar with them, get familiar with talking to people. Whenever I'm doing my clients, I make them call people, just call them just because if you never ask somebody to buy their property, it's going to be hard for you to have a conversation about buying a property. So just get familiar with calling people and getting in these groups, just talking to people. How do I find people that are willing to do creative financing? Or do you just contact them and ask them if they're open to it? Yes, you ask. That's the first question I always ask. If anybody says that they want to sell a property, I say, will you do seller financing? That's the first question I ask, because if they do seller financing, now I ain't got to go into a bank. Now I ain't got to jump through all of these extra hoops. Seller financing is basically not having to jump through hoops. Like you should use a lawyer, but you don't have to. I didn't with my first deal. Me and my landlord just signed the contract and I gave him $10,000, my last. I just threw my last into it. So yeah, you just ask people, will they do seller financing? You see a for sale by owner, that's a good sign that he don't want to use a realtor. He want to sell it by himself. So the realtor want 6% or whatever. He don't want to give up that 6%. So you go talk to him and you ask them that question first. Will you do seller financing? How much do you want for it? And all of these questions. So do you hire a contractor or do you do it manually? It just depends on how extensive the work is. If it's plumbing, I just had a pipe bust and they had to dig out all my yard, all the street, and it cost me like $13,000. I couldn't have did that by myself. And plus, you got to pull permits for stuff like that. So if you got to pull permits and stuff, more than likely I'm using a contractor for like siding and roofs and stuff like that. I'm not doing that type of work. But if you need some paint, some new floors put down, I'll do all of that little work.
All right, Donnas. I guess it's almost time to wrap it up. You and I spoke yesterday, and you mentioned having you doing a like one-on-one mentorship or program that you just started. Can you explain again how does it work? How they can reach out to you
Yeah,
and things like that?
okay. Yeah, so I do offer one-on-one coaching. It's basically like everything I just taught you right now. We'll go over it in detail. I'll hold your hand. I'll help you find the properties and get familiar with the whole process. So if you're interested in one-on-one coaching, I offer that, and you can either contact me on Instagram and Facebook, and we could talk more about it, or you can go to my website, FromPrisonToProperties.com, and see more about that. But yeah, if you really interested and you ready to put in the work, and if you would do the work, yeah, we can make it happen. And for the people in New York, it's gonna be hard, but it's still possible.
Yep, sounds good. Anybody else has any more questions before we close for today? I think.
All right. Thank y'all for coming.
Thank you again, right? Have a good weekend. We talk later, Donald.
Thank you, boss.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
Donald, for your time.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you.
Don't
Good
forget to
job.
send him y'all
Thank you as
email
well.
addresses.
Yeah, please send me your address again so we can send the book out to you guys ASAP.
All right.
And I'll
Bye.
see you guys on the next Zoom call next Saturday or the following Saturday. Just keep looking for, keep checking the WhatsApp group. I will post the class for the next Saturday. Have a good weekend, guys.
Yeah.